Hello there, everybody. Andrew Rogers here for TST Total Sports Talk. Glad to be back with you. It's been a little while. I was out sick. I apologize for not uploading a video while I was under the weather. I figured that was probably not the best idea on my part. So happy to be back with you. Happy to be back with you talking sports. It was actually a blessing in disguise when it happened to go under the weather. It was in between rounds 1 and 2 of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, so I didn't really miss a ton. However, I'm going to catch you up on what is going on in the world of sports. The first thing I want to do, though, is say, hey, glad to be back, folks. It's it's kind of like Eric Bischoff's WWE entrance music. I'm back and better than ever. Yeah, good luck getting that out of your head now. All right. Anyways, I got a bunch of notes that I want to go through. I want to introduce some points that I'm gonna dive into a little bit more for you. And yeah, let's get her underway. The first point here that I got is the story about ESPN. As someone who is striving to become a sports personality, and who really enjoys doing these YouTube and Facebook page updates for the viewers out there. Thank you very much for supporting me, obviously. My heart goes out to these guys. ESPN laying off 100 staffers to yesterday, including SportsCenter anchors and network staples. Now, this is a major hit for the station and a major hit for the sports community as a whole. It's a really tough pill to swallow. It's really hard to see it happen. All these people are good people. They go out, they do what they love to do, and and it's just a shame that ESPN felt the need to get rid of all these fine people who have families and mortgages and payments and debts and kids and all sorts of things. And I really hope, though, that all these people are able to get on elsewhere and continue to do what they love to do each and every day. That's what I hope, anyways. So my condolences go out to them, and I hope that they can find work soon. Switching gears now, we're going to talk about the NHL playoffs. Let's dive right into that. The second round of the NHL playoffs got started last night. Boy, what can you say about the Nashville Predators? They're the only team so far in the playoffs to be undefeated after tonight. I'll get to Anaheim in a second. It's unbelievable what they're doing. I gotta say, though, as watching the highlights of this game, Nashville beating St. Louis 4-3, PK Subban looked like a man possessed out there. This guy has got to be feeling all sorts of highs, having reached the second round with Nashville after the big trade last offseason with Montreal for Shea Weber. Like, he's got to be loving this. He's got to be loving the fact that he's in the second round and Montreal was eliminated in 6 by the Rangers. But here's where I have an issue with PK Subban. Cut the goal celebration crap. Seriously, cut the goal celebration crap, okay? I'm going to quote a movie from one of the greatest sports movie franchises of all time. There's another one coming up later on in the program. The Mighty Duck movies, Gordon Bombay and Emilio Estevez, Joshua Jackson, Charlie Conway. One of the things that stick out in relation to PK Subban is this. Enough with the celebration. Act like you've scored a goal before. Okay? It's true, buddy. Show a little class. Show a little professionalism when you score a goal. Okay? One of the prime examples that I have here is when I watched Stevie Y back in the day, Steve Yzerman. What a beauty this guy was. Because every time he would score a goal, the celebration would be the same. He'd admire, he would high-five his teammates, skate to the bench, skate to the circle, wherever he had to go. It was classy, it was professional. PK Subban, you've scored millions of goals before. Act like you've scored one, all right? Cut the celebration crap. Nashville leads the series 1-0. Otherwhere, Edmonton steals home ice advantage away from the Ducks. This was a crazy game, especially the third period. It went into the third period tied at 1. Edmonton scores 2 in a matter of a minute and a half to take a 3-1 lead. Anaheim comes right back, scores 2 within a minute. It's just crazy. Adam Larson ends up getting the winner, the fourth goal of the game. Just incredible. His first two of the NHL playoffs, and the Edmonton Oilers come out on top, 5-3 over the Anaheim Ducks. They steal home ice advantage away. Edmonton leads that series now 1-0. Tonight, Rangers are at the Senators at 7 o'clock on CBC, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are at the Washington Capitals at 7:30 over on Sportsnet. Here's where I have an issue with the NHL and their playoff formats, all right? I don't know who is thinking about doing this schedule, but I think it's bogus that you have both Western Conference teams on one night and both Eastern Conference teams on another night. Why not have an East game early and a West game late? So that way no one's got to channel flip and no one's got to miss anything. You really screwed up on that one. Anyways, moving on. My third point here. NBA last night. The Washington Wizards went up 3-2 in their series with a 103-99 win over the Atlanta Hawks. Like I say, they lead that series now 3-2. Boston Celtics defeated the Chicago Bulls 108-97. Boston leads that series 3-2. Tonight, the San Antonio Spurs can move on to the second round with a win over the Memphis Grizzlies. They are up 3-2 in that series. The other big game is, of course, the Toronto Raptors. And boy, what a game did they have in game number 5. They just looked incredible. What can you say about Norman Powell? This guy has been absolutely amazing for the Toronto Raptors. To step up and lead the team in scoring, to have your first name not be DeMar or Kyle, it's so impressive what he did, and he's just such a great player and a great asset to this Toronto Raptors team. They look to close it out tonight in Milwaukee for game number 6. That goes at 7 p.m. over on Sportsnet 1. Make sure to check that out. It'll be a great game. Hopefully the Raptors can advance, although Cleveland Cavaliers are waiting for them, which I don't understand either. How do you expect, I don't get it. What is with the format? If somebody can help me figure this out, this would be great. The Toronto Raptors are seeded number 3. Cleveland is seeded number 2. They are assuming that the Raptors, once they move on, will face Cleveland no matter what. But what happens if the Chicago Bulls beat the Boston Celtics? That means the 8th seed moves on and they get the highest remaining seed, that's Cleveland. I don't know. I don't know. I'm lost and confused on that one. If somebody can figure this out for me and let me know, that'd be awesome. Thank you. You can reach me, TST.TOTAL.SPORTS.TALK on Facebook, Facebook.com, Andrew Rogers 99. Okay, moving on. Number 4 point. OHL playoffs. Boy, are they good. We actually had our first team go into the OHL championship, book their spot in there, and that is the Mississauga Steelheads. TST wants to congratulate the Mississauga Steelheads on being crowned the Eastern Conference champions. They were awarded the Bobby Orr Trophy tonight after a very dominating 7-0 win against the Peterborough Petes in Mississauga tonight. This Mississauga team, just incredible what they were able to do in the Eastern Conference Final. They didn't even make it look close, apart from this double overtime game in game number 3. They were in control of this series from the get-go, which is a complete surprise given that Peterborough went 8-0 to start the playoffs before they ran into this Mississauga team. Boy, are they good from top to bottom. Whoever that they get in the OHL championship has their hands full. It's not going to be easy. I mean, sure, they finished 1,000,000 points ahead of them, but Mississauga will give them a serious run. And if I was Erie or Owen Sound, I'd want to take as long as I could with this series that they're in, because the longer the series goes, maybe the more rusty Mississauga will get, and that's the best that they could hope for right now. Speaking of that series, Erie Otters evened up the series 2-2 with a 4-3 win over the Owen Sound Attack in Owen Sound last night. Game number 4. It was Erie. They looked strong. The winner was scored by Warren Fogle on a shorthanded breakaway. Just a brutal giveaway. Pass from the blue line back to the center line, and Fogle steps in front of it, goes in on McNiven and beats him. That's a deflating loss for this Owen Sound team, who rattled off a couple of wins and had all the momentum coming into this game, and to drop this one is a hard one. Now they have to go into Erie to start a best of 3, and they have to win 2 out of 3 to move on. Same with Erie, obviously, but it's going to be tough having to do 2 of those games possibly on the road for Owen Sound into Erie. This will be a great finish, and I'm really looking forward to it, both from an Owen Sound perspective and from an Erie perspective. So Game 5 will go Friday night in Erie. This will be a fantastic finish. Don't miss it. It's going to be awesome. Okay, Lastly, we want to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays, and in case you didn't know, they were postponed last night. They're going to play a doubleheader tonight. Game 1 goes at 1:45 p.m., Game 2 goes at 7:15. Matt Layoffs is the Game 1 starter for the Toronto Blue Jays. Casey Lawrence will be the Game 2 starter. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if anybody's not talking about the previous Toronto Blue Jays game, the one that took place a couple of nights ago that they won in extra innings. This game had a little bit of everything. They're playing the St. Louis Cardinals, so it's a National League team. The pitcher has to hit. Let's keep that in mind. So this game had a little bit of everything. First of all, the weirdest thing had Russell Martin, the normal catcher of the team, start at third base. Okay, start at third base. Why not? First couple of innings, he gets a hit to him. He looks real smooth. Makes the play, throws it over to first, gets the guy out. Looked pretty smooth. I gotta admit, I was actually pretty skeptical of that move, but apparently he's played third about 18 times before when he was with Pittsburgh. Not bad. Okay, fine. I get that. Okay. You needed a third base and you wanted to keep his hot bat in the lineup, even though he's batting 1-something. Okay, fine. I get it. Okay. The next move that they make, so this is a weird one. Okay, here's what they go up 5-4 in the top half of the ninth. In comes Roberto Osuna in the bottom of the ninth. He's at 2 outs. He's got a runner on third, and he blows the save again for the second time. I don't know about you guys, but Osuna looks like he's struggling. He spent 10 days on the DL at the beginning of the year, and I think that's really hampering him. I don't think he's the same pitcher as last year. Hopefully he can figure it all out before it gets to be too much of a problem. Anyways, so they blow the lead. They go to extra innings. By some stroke of a miracle, John Gibbons finds it in his heart to summon Marcus Stroman. Yes, you heard that name right. Marcus Stroman. They summon Marcus Stroman to pinch hit for Jason Grilli at the pitcher's spot. What does Stroman do? What Marcus Stroman would do. Smacks a double into the left field corner. A pinch hit double. He's the first Blue Jay pitcher in franchise history to hit a pinch hit double. Unbelievable. What can't you do, Marcus Stroman? What can't you do? So then, he gets on to second base. Player comes up and hits the ball. It's thrown away wildly at first. Around comes Marcus Stroman to score the winning run. Incredible. Jays go on to win in extra innings. At the end of the day, though, it's not the best highlight, because nothing can compare to Chris Coghlan. And if you guys haven't seen this video, you've been living under a rock. Chris Coghlan is waved home on a Kevin Pillar single from second base. What Luis Rivera is thinking at third by sending Chris Coghlan to home is unfathomable. People on Twitter were saying he was out by 15 feet if he doesn't make the play he makes. This guy does his best leap over, like springboard dive, over a 6'4", 5'6" Yadier Molina, and is safe at home. Like, this is such an incredible play that Chris Coghlan makes. All these things combined, all the baseball gods doing for the Toronto Blue Jays, leads them to victory. If this isn't the spark that the Toronto Blue Jays need, then they don't deserve anything this year but to finish 50-110 or 112 or whatever the case to make up the 162 games that they'll play this season. But this will go down no matter what at the end of the season as the greatest night that the Toronto Blue Jays had this season, regardless of what they do. Even if they win the World Series, it'll be pointed back to this night as the turnaround. Now, the funniest thing about this had to be the afterthought. So Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn are wrapping up this game, and Jamie Campbell says to Greg, he says, "Greg, have you ever seen anything like this on a baseball field?" Greg Zahn's reply, "Never. Never seen anything like it." Well, maybe you haven't seen it on a baseball field, but I guarantee you Mr. Zahn has seen Major League too. And for you guys out there, TST, Total Sports Talk, and all your viewers and all the viewers and everything, here's a little treat. I'm going to play it for you. All right. I got this all queued up here. We're going to go to it now. Enjoy, folks. This is, let's see if we got it up here. Yeah, look at that. This is Willie Mays Hayes. Look at that. Right over him. I guarantee you Greg Son has seen this movie, and he knows exactly what happens here. Andrew Rogers for TST, Total Sports Talk. For Willie Mays Hayes, I'm Andrew Rogers. Keep your head up and keep your stick on the ice. Rogers out.